Rust on the field, so that's going to be a pretty good tank that comes from the Imperial Guard, very much on par with your Predator and your Chaos tanks. And it's been upgraded with the Vanquisher, which is more effective against vehicle units, so certainly there's going to be the chance that a few anti-vehicle infantry squads are going to be able to take that down if it is unsupported. You'll see there is a big push going on right now, and just the speed of the Banshees and that Artok are just being able to run in, do damage. It does look like the Chaos may get away with no unit losses though. We see the Leman Russ is continuing to use its attacks on the power at this point. So the concern now, as we can definitely take a look, is how much power does our Baller team have? You see our Chaos is actually already at tier 3. Our Space Marine players building in tier 3 right now. And then, we already have a Baneblade queued up. A Baneblade is basically the Imperial Guard super tank. So as powerful as this Leman Russ can be, the Baneblade is pretty much an army of its own. It is equipped with the weapons to deal with any type of unit. It's both effective against infantry and vehicles, and has a huge, over 3,000 health. So when compared to this Leman Russ, it makes it look quite small and puny. And we see that Electric Galaxy Burn ability going off, doing some good damage. Ooh, and a hero goes down, the Warlock. We'll see that the Leman Russ continues to try to fire away the best it can. Although it is certainly outnumbered right now and definitely needs to get back. We'll see that a Haywire Grenade went off. That's going to slow it down. We'll see the Chaos keep yelling about how they're under attack by that tank, and definitely have concern. They smartly just switch over and start trying to take down as many guardsmen as they can. And looks like we have some of the Chaos Marines already retreating. This squad should probably retreat relatively soon, unless... Nope, it is being supported by a Chaos Lord, but unfortunately the Sentinel was able to stomp. Really going to prevent that Chaos Lord from getting into melee and doing the damage it could. We'll see Warp Spiders, which are a very, very powerful range unit, do incredible amounts of damage very, very quickly. They're just going to be working on this generator, and they'll even take Valkyries down pretty quickly. We'll look back up here. We have a few units moving out, just a Guardian Squad, that Artok and Howling Banshees. Up here, those Ogryn Squads are doing their best, smacking everything they can, and pretty intelligently going right after that Apothecary. And the reason you'd want to do that is that Apothecary himself has lower life, but does allow all his units nearby to regen very quickly and heal. You see that the Scout Squad's potentially sacrificing itself just to get that decap. And wow, a little bit of luck there, but actually gets away with 3 models left on the squad. See some more fighting going on here. And you see that Baneblade, 3,700 health. Just shooting away, although all these Howling Banshees and this Artok all have power weapons, so they are going to be pretty effective at dealing damage. And the other concern here is this Artok can just use its jump ability to continuously heal. And that was some bizarre pathing that caused that Space Marine character to go a little bit crazy, but does manage to get out alive. We see that we have some kind of call down going on here. With Artillery Strike, fortunately didn't do a whole lot of damage. Sentinel and a Manticore. So a Manticore is basically a free artillery shot. Once you build that unit, it does have a cooldown, but every once in a while it can shoot those 4 missiles that are on top and can do pretty significant damage. There is a small period of time where you can see a little bit of a warning before those shots actually land, so it's not going to be in kind of insta-kill, you have no way to defend against it kind of thing. It certainly can deal some pretty good damage pretty quickly in any of these team battles. And we see that, you know, points-wise, we're getting pretty even. and the Lord General is decapping this point. Connoisseur Lord just running in, trying to do the best he can to do as much damage as possible. You see the scouts have found the Manticore. The Manticore is pulling back a little bit, maybe realizing there could be a little bit of pressure coming. A Terminator squad upgraded with assault cannons. They're going to be very good for any infantry that try to fight, even going to be effective against these Ogrins. Not as effective as some of the other builds, specifically the missile launcher, Cyclone missiles, if they are fighting heavier weaponry, but the fact that they're going to so easily kill any kind of infantry will allow him to free up some of his other resources and units to more focus on taking down any vehicles if need be. See, we have a great unclean one. That's kind of like the Chaos Flare giant tank. It's got a few abilities, very powerful, some slow health regen, and overall just a very powerful unit. It's able to run in, deal a great amount of damage to any units. Its biggest weakness when compared to some of the other tanks is its lack of a ranged attack. So you have a little more of a battle going on here, and like I was saying, those Terminator squads are definitely able to lay down some really good damage. There are 2 Ogryn squads, and Ogrins are heavy infantry, and wow, I have no idea what just hit right there, but it just wiped out an entire Ogryn squad. That is not something you see every day. Ooh, and this other Ogryn squad getting out with only 1 model. Definitely looking like it's swinging into the favor of the bottom team. I really don't think our top team is going to be able to push back. Baneblade is definitely out, but at this point of the game, map control has been conceded to our bottom team, and there's just, I think, a little bit too much momentum going in their favor. You see that a little bit of a mistake there. The Connoisseur Lord pushing too far, really trying to take down that Manticore, which not a bad idea. It does have low life for the vehicle, but unfortunately ends up losing his hero in the process. We'll see what this Baneblade tries to do. Looks like they're trying to go straight for engaging the bulk of the enemy team's forces, which at this point consists of mostly these Space Marine units, now actually backed up by Leman Russ, which is that smaller tank that the Imperial Guard can make. The reason at this point that the player chose to get the Leman Russ is, unfortunately, you're only allowed 1 Baneblade. We'll see. It's going to start shooting off at Baneblade, but it's definitely going to be out-damaged, especially with those abilities. The Baneblade does have a targeted ability, meaning it doesn't automatically hit. You do have to aim the ability on the ground, but it does an extremely high amount of damage to either units in an AoE or kind of a single target damage, which is effective against vehicles. So it does look like the Leman Russ is going to unfortunately go down. Although the Baneblade is fully repaired and certainly could push out and fight a little bit, but it looks like they're pulling them back, more looking to just defend the victory point here. Use some of their other troops to recap this victory point. Once they recap this victory point, the enemy points will start to go back down. But this is definitely an interesting little moment. We have, most of the remaining forces of our top team moving in, trying to take down this victory point. Well, will it be enough? That's definitely the question. This Baneblade is, unfortunately, just getting wrecked on. So many units just focus firing it right now that even with its extreme amount of life, heavy armor, it's just melting away. You see now that we even have an avatar on the field. So an avatar is going to be much more similar to our Greater Unclean one. It's a big giant melee. It's considered demon, god of war, really powerful in that melee. Also has that extremely high health, but does have the weakness of not having your traditional ranged attacks. You see that the victory point is contested right now. No one actually has it, and there's definitely a very, very hard push. kind of make it or break it right now for our top team. Dropping 2 heavy turrets. Heavy turrets are an ability that the Lord General of the Imperial Guard has. It's technically a building, so it's going to be resistant to non-anti-vehicle fire, and they do good amounts of damage. It does look like Baneblade is too unsupported, too many units, and it goes down. And at this point, should you pretty much just recapture that point, and a few more minutes, and should be game over for the top team. I don't see them being able to pull back a win at this point, but definitely well played. Tons of action all over the map. We will see how this ends up, because we do have a decap going on. But unfortunately, with over 200 points, it seems very likely that the bottom team is going to be able to recapture all the points they need and just whittle down the enemy team. Well, the Raider and Queen One is running directly into AV fire with that Bright Lance platform. Smartly, the Space Marine player is trying to support that Queen One. Once again, the Banshees and that Arctop is running in, showing so much damage so quickly. The Assault Squad is supposed to be designed for melee combat, and they just got so much damage dealt on them. But yeah, it looks like these Terminator squads just doing so much damage with their assault cannons. I feel like I've said so much, a heck of a lot this game. And I believe that's the end of the game. So no GGs, nothing like that. Definitely an interesting game. Thanks for watching.